welcome back to my channel. I am so glad that you're here. I had a lot of fun vlogging this last week. This is my first time vlogging my life, period. So this YouTube channel is brand new territory for me. Don't mind my daughter in the background. She is okay. She is a hooligan. But I had a lot of fun. I didn't get as much writing done this week as I was hoping. Honestly, I've been struggling to find the balance between having both kids home for the summer. I am hardcore in a weight loss journey right now, which means I'm in a calorie deficit and I am waking up at 5:30 in the morning to work out. I am working out really hard and it's great and it's temporary. I know it's not forever, but essentially I was writing, when I was writing my first draft, I would write in the evenings at bedtime after the kids went to bed.
Obviously.
And that was perfect. I am a night owl. I have the most creative flow in the evening. So it was perfect. I got my first draft written in like 9 months or something like that. What's happened though is now that I'm waking up early to get my workout in before everyone else is awake, before I start my day, I find that by the evening time, my brain power has been sapped. Like, I am not able to focus the same way. There have been multiple times where I'm trying to write and I literally feel like I cannot form a sentence in my head, let alone get it on the paper. And with my second draft especially, I'm trying to write a much more polished version of my story. And so that's been a little bit tricky. That on top of also running my small business, you know, because on one hand you think, why not just write during the day? Well, one, children, and two, my small business. So I've been fulfilling orders. I recently just launched dragons and they are highly detailed and they take a lot of time. So that was a very long-winded way of explaining to you why I have not written as much as I would have liked to this week. But I did also make some breakthroughs this weekend that I'm really excited about. I'm feeling really energized about my story and I'm excited to bring you along for the journey. So
okay, we'll see how this microphone works. My son is currently playing Fall Guys. I don't know if you've ever played this game. This is his first time really playing, and he just learned about how you get eliminated, like if you fall off the map and how you just kind of watch other people play. It's been interesting. But anyway, I'm hopping on here because I just set down my computer and I'm really excited that I just fleshed out a bunch of plot and lore for my story that I've had a lot of questions about. You know, kind of answering the question why my protagonist is so important, the motivation from the big bad in my story, just a bunch of stuff like that. And I'm really, really excited and I'm really glad.
So unfortunately, my microphone died or disconnected or something, but it's fine. It wasn't really that great anyway. But what I was saying before my microphone cut out was that I was really glad that I took the time to sit and really process these questions that I've had for a while, you know, fleshing out character arcs and motivations, understanding some of the backstory behind, you know, what's going on with these characters, asking myself and answering the question, Why my protagonist? Because that's been a major thing, is in Project Hourglass, you're following this main character all the way through, and there's a lot of significant things that happen, and I've just had these questions like, why? You know, obviously a story follows a character or multiple characters because that's the story, but I just kind of had this lingering unknown, this lack of understanding about, you know, why she was being targeted for certain things. And it was really lovely just to be able to sit and say, this is the reason why, and this is why this works, because it goes back to, you know, over here. And it might be things that the reader doesn't end up finding out, or it might be things that the reader doesn't find out until a lot later. I'm picturing this as being a trilogy or a duology, but you know, we'll see. But either way, these aren't questions that the reader necessarily needs answers to, but as the author, they're questions that I needed answers to, so that I could have an understanding going forward why certain things are so significant, why things are happening to my protagonist the way that they are, so that I can feel confident telling this story and sharing it with the reader. So anyway, even though I got interrupted like a million times, I felt really good about just sitting with it, because it's been intimidating me for a while. It's part of why it's taken me a hot minute to jump into draft 2, because I've just kind of had this, you know, thing hanging over my head. And I'm one of those people where I don't feel great about putting things on the back burner when I know that I'm gonna have to come back to it and it's significant. So, you know, it's one thing to say like, I don't know exactly how I'm gonna write this scene, I'll put a pin in it and come back to it. That's one thing. But when I'm literally like, my story is depending on me having the answers to this, I can't just kind of write what I do know and then leave the rest to the wind. I'm not that kind of person. I'm too big of a control freak for that. So again, without sounding redundant, it was so good just to sit with this and get it done. And then afterward, we decided to take the kids outside and to go on a walk because they were super antsy. And parenting is way easier when you're outside. So that's what we did. So I actually wasn't planning on talking right now. I'm still in my workout outfit from this morning, and I'm currently working on orders from my dragon collection, but I just got finished watching an author vlog, and I don't know, like it just, I turned it off so that I could kind of just sit in the quiet and think my thoughts and kind of reminisce on my own writing journey and how I'm feeling about it. And I will link her YouTube channel in the description below so you can watch some of her videos for yourself. But the girl I was watching, Esme, you know, she just has this wonderful mindset about just like knowing that she deserves her book deal and embracing it. And she talks very transparently about how she's struggled with this mindset, but you know, just kind of listening to her talk and listening to her journey and being inspired by it, like I was saying, it just kind of made me want to sit and kind of ponder my own thoughts about my own book. And for those of you who don't know, I am on draft 2 of my book, which I'm calling Project Hourglass. It's just like the alias until I come up with a title. But I'm on draft 2. And something that I've really struggled with about my book so far is kind of coming up with a blurb or like a definite synopsis. And I think that's okay because, you know, draft 1, I finished it, and then I had to ask myself a lot of questions about the story, came up with answers, we'll be implementing them in draft 2. So that's good. Like, that's just part of the process, I feel like. But I get nervous and I start to kind of get into this headspace, and I feel like there's a little bit of self-sabotage happening here. But I get in this headspace where I'm like, I couldn't even really tell you what my book's about. Like, I kind of know what my book's about. Like, I know it's about a girl. She's technically like the heir to the throne of her territory, which I'm still figuring out the government system, because there's like
an overarching ruling king, and then there's territories that all kind of like rule themselves.
She is essentially like the princess of her territory, for lack of a better word. And she has to embark on this journey to convince the king to allow her territory to do something. I don't want to say too much because it's not really like a spoiler. It's like kind of you find out right away in the beginning of the book. She has to go on this mission, and then a whole bunch of other stuff starts happening. Like a whole bunch of other things start happening. And, you know, at the end of the day, what she thinks she's doing, like, things are not as they seem. That's the whole thing. Things are not as they seem. Everything she thought she knew, like, she finds out that she didn't. And there's so much in there. And like I said, I don't want to give away too much. I'm still kind of figuring that out. But circling back to what I was saying before, you know, I get into this headspace where I'm like, I don't know like what my blurb would be. I don't know what my synopsis would be. And then I start kind of spiraling down into this other headspace of like, is there even a story here? Like, you know, is this going to be a book that people can connect with? Is this a story people can connect with? And, you know, characters that people are going to, you know, feel for and feel connected to. And, you know, when I initially set out to start writing Project Hourglass, I really wanted it to be a book that moved you. So I'll just give you like a personal example, but like I read the entire Throne of Glass series last year, and that was a series that moved me for lots of different reasons. And regardless of your opinion on it, like it's a series that moved me. And in a similar regard, like as an aspiring author, I want to write things that move people. And I also obviously want to write a story that has a plot that is engaging and characters that people love. And just, you know, these are the things that I think about. And sometimes I get into these places where, you know, maybe I'm struggling with a certain aspect, like not being able to rattle off the top of my head what my synopsis would be or what I would tell someone is the blurb of my story. Now, granted, I also haven't really sat down and taken the time to like flesh that out, but it does. It's moments like these where I start to kind of doubt myself, and I'm really trying to work on that. And listening to her vlogs just really inspired me to continue to work on that part of myself, you know, to really try and pour into my self-belief, because it's like, yeah, I don't know those things yet, but I'm only on chapter 3 of draft 2. I've had to make a ton of changes. I know the overarching storyline, like I know the character arcs that are going to be happening. Just because I don't know how to put it all together yet in like a pretty packaged bow deal, whatever, just because I don't have it all tied up neat, that doesn't mean that I won't. That doesn't mean that there's not a story here. That doesn't mean that there aren't characters that people will fall in love with. And so I'm really trying to work on not going there with myself, because I know I've got something really great here. I know that I'm capable. I am allowed to take up space. I'm allowed to hope and dream and be excited about chasing the things that I'm passionate about, you know, without tearing myself down in the process, or without going down this rabbit hole of like, you're not being practical and you need to like prepare yourself for the worst and blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, I think it's one thing to manage your expectations, and it's another to just completely not allow yourself to lean into your dreams. And so anyway, that's just kind of like a thought I had after watching Esme's vlogs. I want to be excited about my writing journey, and I am excited about my writing journey, but I want to be hopeful and joyful and gentle with myself. I'm so hard on myself. I get into this like crazy overachiever mindset, and it's like one step at a time. I've written a book start to finish. Now I'm revising that book start to finish. We're doing the damn thing one step at a time.